Welcome to the podcast version of the Ballistic Show, which you can hear on WindyCityUnderground.com every Wednesday from 2 to 3. This is your town to host, Ballistic Ike on the mic. And on this week's episode, I'm talking BET Awards, how I feel personally the promotion has been mishandled. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the new movie, Central Intelligence. You're also going to hear my real-time reaction to Derrick Rose getting traded to the Knicks. It happened while the show was going on, so you're going to hear my raw, uncut reactions on that. And so just make sure you subscribe right now to get these every single week, and make sure you follow me on all the social media outlets in the description box below, and make sure you tune in to the Ballistic Show every Wednesday from 2 to 3 on WindyCityUnderground.com. Your music, your station. The Looney Bin is open. Bring the noise! WindyCityUnderground.com, your music, your station. Welcome back to the Ballistic Show. I am your town to host, Ballistic Ike on the mic. And this past weekend, we saw the release of two very important movies. We had Finding Dory, of course, starring Ellen DeGeneres, which made over $100 million. I'm sure everybody expected it to do really well. But also, we had Central Intelligence. Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, they made the movies together. Central Intelligence had made over $30 million, which is very good for an original comedy, to do, especially in the summer season where we're so used to sequels and all that kind of stuff. For it to do that well is pretty amazing. And I got a chance to see it as well this past weekend. And I gave it, personally, an 8 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10, because I see the Rotten Tomatoes .com score, which for those who don't know, Rotten Tomatoes is where all the critics put their reviews on movies that they've seen, and they gave it a 67%, which is basically a D sort of, or a high D, I should say. But it seems like most people like this movie. I can see why certain people might not grab onto it. It does have certain moments, where it's kind of like, really, did that joke need to be there? But overall, for me personally, I really enjoyed it. If for no other reason, it's because Dwayne Johnson steals this movie. I know Kevin Hart's in it, and I know Kevin Hart is known as more of the comedian, but Dwayne Johnson, his character, Bob Stone, I'm laughing because if you've seen the movie, you know why I'm laughing. His character, Bob Stone, is so different from The Rock we have seen in previous movies. Most times he can be funny, but it's more so as a sarcastic, kind of guy. But this guy, he goes full out man-child because he plays Bob Stone, who used to be a nerd, an overweight nerd in high school. Then he grew up and became a CIA killer. And it just, he still has those man-child personalities in him. And it's amazing to see this grown man sort of act like a child throughout this entire movie. And to see Kevin Hart be the straight man, normally we see Kevin Hart wild out. And he still has his moments, but mostly Dwayne Johnson carries this movie with all the jokes, and it was amazing to see. I had a good time watching Central Intelligence, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. It's a good laugh. In the world we live in now, it's great to just go somewhere and laugh, and I think the message of anti-bullying it has in there is really important for people to see, especially young people. It's PG-13. There's some explicit language, but I still think, kids will like this movie, to some effect. So that's just my opinion. Go see Central Intelligence. Good job for that to do well. Good job to Finding Dory, making over $100 million. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's very, very awesome. Coming up at 2:20, we're going to be talking the BET Awards. They announced the Lifetime Achievement Award recipient and the Humanitarian Award recipient. We're going to find out who those are, and we're going to find out why a lot of people don't know what's coming up. But right now, here's Roro with Bands right here on WindyCityUnderground.com. Your music, your station. WindyCityUnderground.com, your music, your station. Welcome back to the Ballistic Show. I am your town to host, Ballistic Ike on the mic. Now, this Sunday is the BET Awards 2016, live from Hollywood. Anthony Anderson, Tracy Ellis Ross from Blackish are going to be blessing the stage as hosts for the second year in a row. They have performances by Usher, Alicia Keys, we got Maxwell, we got doing the Prince tribute, we got Sheila E., The Roots, and Janelle Monáe, and more to be announced. And this past yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, they announced the Lifetime Achievement Award recipient and the Humanitarian Award recipient. Now, I want to first talk about the Lifetime Achievement Award they got. This normally in the past they've given it to artists like Al Green, I believe Earth, Wind and Fire. They've given it to the late great Prince, obviously. But this year they are switching it up. This year they've given it to artists like Al Green, I believe Earth, Wind and Fire. They've given it to the late great Prince, obviously. But this year they are switching it up. This year they are giving it to none other than Samuel L. Jackson. Let me repeat that. Samuel L. Jackson is getting the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. All I gotta say is, I hope the censors are ready. But in all seriousness, I think Samuel L. Jackson is one of our best actors of all time. He just, whenever you see him in a movie, he brings a certain amount of energy, and he's always committed. Now, the Humanitarian Award recipient is very interesting. It's going to another actor. His name is Jesse Williams. You may know him from Grey's Anatomy, and they're honoring him thanks to his work with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, which I think is very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say in his speech. But what I really want to get into, let's get to the nitty-gritty here. The promotion for this year's show has been terrible. Now, this isn't an attack on BET per se, but I think they should have done a job with promoting the show. It seems like ever since 106 and Park went off the air, they don't really know how to promote their award shows anymore. 106 and Park was a way for them to really go all out with their promotion. So it's going to be interesting to see what the ratings are for this year's show due to the fact that there hasn't really been enough buzz for it. But, I know a lot of people are waiting to see what they do with this Prince tribute, so it's going to be really cool to see. Coming up at 2:30, I got another TV show to talk about. It's called Uncle Buck. It's on ABC, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. Right now, here's Big O with Jealous featuring King L right here on WindyCityUnderground.com. Your music, your station. WindyCityUnderground.com, your music, your station. Welcome back to the Ballistic Show. I'm your town host, Ike Moore. And apparently we got some breaking news here. I was not expecting to do this. I was actually going to talk about Uncle Buck, but we got some breaking news here coming to us from Casey Johnson, who works at the Chicago Tribune. I want to stress that this is just from his source, but the Chicago Tribune is very reliable. They are reporting, as of right now, Derrick Rose has been traded to the New York Knicks. Let me repeat that. Derrick Rose has just been traded to the New York Knicks. This is coming from Casey Johnson of the Chicago Tribune. The report I'm looking at WGNTV.com as we speak. The report reads as follows. His era began with such great promise, especially after winning the NBA's Most Valuable Player award in 2011. The Chicago Tribune is reporting that the Bulls have traded the guard Derrick Rose to the New York Knicks. And apparently the Bulls are sending Derrick Rose, Justin Holiday, and a 2017 second-round pick for Robin Lopez, Duran Grant, and Jose Calderon. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, player. But apparently this is a source, but it's Chicago Tribune is very reliable. But man, you heard it here. Derrick Rose is leaving Chicago and going to New York. Man, that is shocking. I was not expecting that. This is coming from a guy, I think I talked about it a few weeks ago. I am not the biggest sports fan, but I do follow sports from time to time. I know certain players. And Derrick Rose, I'll admit it, he started off great, but as for the past few years, in my opinion at least, and this is just my opinion, you're free to feel however you want to feel about the man, but to me, it's declining. His stock has declined. He doesn't play as well as he used to. So maybe the New York Knicks, this trade is good for him. Maybe a change of scenery may be good. Maybe he'll find his way again and make an impact there like he did here. But from what I can tell, Jimmy Butler is still with us. Joakim Noah is still with us, unless somebody knows something different from me, but I believe he's still with us. But man, this is breaking. Was not expecting this right now. Derrick Rose going to New York. I wish him the best, but Chicago, this hurts, a little bit for us. Let's get the positivity back in again. Coming up at 2:45, I'm going to close the show out by talking about Uncle Buck, unless something else breaks that I'm not prepared for. In the meantime, here's Bruce Levi with Cable Guy right here on WindyCityUnderground.com. Your music, your station.
Cable Guy!
WindyCityUnderground.com. Your music, your station. This is the Ballistic Show. I'm your talented host, Ballistic Ike on the mic. And man, what was I about to talk about? Oh yeah, the ABC has a new show on Tuesdays. It's called Uncle Buck, and it stars Mike Epps. Now let me give you some background. Uncle Buck was a movie, I believe it was in the late 90s. It starred the late great John Candy, and it was basically about a man who helps take care of his brother's kids. And so this show kind of keeps up that concept, but adds a few touches, since it's Mike Epps, he had to bring his personality. Now, I saw the first 2 episodes last week. I didn't see it last night. I'm going to later tonight, but I haven't seen this week's episodes. Me personally, I think it's an okay show, I still think when it comes to like African American shows, I still think Blackish, kind of leads the pack, when it comes to, blending comedy with some real life messages. But I think this show could be, a lot of fun if they don't mess it up with sort of, I don't know exactly how to say it, but, let the actors be the actors. Don't try to bring stuff in there that doesn't need to be in there. But I think it's an okay show. I don't see nothing too wrong with it. I don't know if I'd say it's a family-friendly show per se, but I think it's not. I'd say it's PG-13 if I had to give it a rating. But before I get out of here, let me just remind you guys that we here at WindyCityUnderground.com give all artists a chance to be heard. From hip-hop and R&B to pop, rock, and gospel. Just log on to WindyCityUnderground.com and click Submit Music. It's that easy. Don't wait. Be heard today. Please make sure this music is clean. And before I get out of here, follow me on Twitter at Ike Ballistic. And make sure you follow me, subscribe to my YouTube channel to get all these shows and listen to them whenever you want. Just type in Ike Moore in the search engine and I'm sure it will pop up. All right, I'll see you guys here next week at 2 o'clock. We're going to talk some more stuff. Until then, just always remember, it's okay to be ballistic as long as it's done responsibly. Right here on WindyCityUnderground.com. Your music, your station. I'm out.